must be the new hire, right? Oh, rad. Okay, well, I'm here to show you the ropes, newbie. Don't worry, there won't be any hazing. I'll get a little bit easier than when I got here. You look familiar. Have I seen you before? Oh, yeah, probably. I've been here for a while. You probably ran into me before, yeah. Cool. Well, the boss man wants me to put you on, basically, starting from the ground up. So I apologize if, some of this stuff might seem a little monotonous or common sense, but just try to treat people like they don't know anything and give them the tools to succeed. Am I right? Cool. So, first things first, I'm going to show you what we got to do. The first thing that you're going to do is make sure that all of the movies are ready to go on the shelf. So, as you see, we have a VCR right here, ready to go. The reason why we have this here is because nobody, and I mean nobody, in fact, take notes, this is rule one, nobody rewinds the movies. It says it on the sign out front, right below you on the desk. I think people do it just to annoy me. I don't know, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but the first thing that you have to do is make sure that the movies are rewound once they get returned. So, as you see, I have your first assignment. We have just a lot of Disney films, a lot of family movies, this being The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. If you open it up, take it out, and you'll notice that it is not properly rewound. When it is rewound, you will see the film over here and nothing over here. So, we have to take the cartridge. We're going to go over to our VCR and make sure that it is turned on, which it is. I already got you started. We're going to push it in. You're going to hear it start up. And then it's very simple. You're just going to hit the rewind button and it'll start rewinding. So, unfortunately, our speed rewinding VCR is broken. So, this is going to have to do for now. And it's a little slow and it's a little noisy, but it'll do the trick, right? So, why this continues to rewind, I'll tell you what your next assignment is. There you go. So, when it is done, you'll hear it stop moving. Hit the eject button. And now it is ready to go back in its case. And just like that, we're good to go. So, up here on top of the VCR are the videos that I have already rewound. Whenever you get them back, you essentially just open up all the cases and just assume that they're not rewound. Luckily, they're all identified. So, all you need to do is look at the cover, and like this, Beauty and the Beast. So, you can see it right there. Beauty this other stuff here. I don't think anyone reads it, but it's hard plastic. And it has these plastic windows as well. So, it's hard to damage these guys. What I need you to do when these happen, when you are rewinding, is to find the stack. Find the box. And then place it back. And then we can put it on the shelf again. Makes sense? Sure. Like I said, I assume you know this. Like, you've been here before, but it's always nice just to review the basics a little bit. Lady in the Tramp 2. Oh, Hercules. One of the best Disney soundtracks ever. Let's see what's next. Mulan, another wonderful, wonderful film. Sometimes it's just a good idea to give it a once over and make sure that nothing's broken. Trap, Lindsay Lohan, Dennis Quaid. One of the greatest movies of all time. Lady in the Tramp 2. So, once you do that, you'll be ready to put them back on the shelf for renting the next person. That is the first thing that I needed to teach you. So, how you doing so far? Good. Yeah, it's not overly complicated, but it is important. Now, the next thing that I'm supposed to do is teach you or show you some of our movies that we have. Lots and lots of genres. So they wanted me to introduce you to just the different genres that we have. The first one action. We have a lot of individuals very interested in the action movies. Sylvester Stallone, like Cliffhanger, Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Kindergarten Cops, Chuck Norris. We have a lot of people who like action. This particular film, as you can tell just from the cover, has a lot of action. You'll also notice that not all of our movies have hardcovers. Most of them have these softer slipcovers. But we also have a lot of comedies as well. This is Hot Shots. They call the mother of all film parodies with Charlie Sheen. And believe it or not, even though it looks quite silly, people love Hot Shots. They love it so much that we try to keep it on the shelves. And in fact, this is the first one. This is the first time that I've seen this in months, because people always snag it up whenever it comes in. Hot Shots. Then, of course, we have animated movies like you saw. We have movies, but we also have cartoons. This is an example of that. The Jackie Chan Adventures. Wonderful, actually. Really funny show. It's Jackie Chan's 11-year-old niece comes to live with him, and it's a lot of fun, and his uncle is he's so funny. For real. Like, you don't have to be a child to laugh at that. It's good. And then, of course, we have some things that you might not anticipate. Things that sports programs, Super Bowls, and one big thing that we get are these WWE, WWF type of pay-per-views. We always get these pay-per-views, a couple of weeks after they're released. And this is just an example. Backlash from 2002, and I think that guy is Triple H on the cover. Try to, you'll get fairly well versed in these enough to be dangerous, because you'll have people that come in, ask you about them, and you'll have to give an answer, right? You got to lead them to water, so to speak. So that is an example of, just some of our genres that we have, but also wanted to make you aware that we do have videos for sale as well. Part of the business is resale, so need to stock these, but we have the Indiana Jones collections, and this is the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was the very first one, and really good movie. Harrison Ford is an archaeologist, an explorer, and kind of a treasure hunter, and fighting against the Nazis. It's a really interesting film, but as you can see, still have it in the cellophane. So we're selling these up front. So not only do we rent them, and then of course when people lose them, we have to get more, but we also sell them outright. So there's an example of the last film, which is The Last Crusade, and I think probably the best one, John Rhys Davies and Steven Spielberg film, and I think it's just really good. Music by John Williams. It's kind of like Star Wars, It has that big of a following. It has that big of a screenplay, director's budget behind it. So, but the most important thing I think that you're gonna have to do is to be able to make suggestions. So when someone comes in, they might have seen a movie, heard about it on a television commercial, or magazine or the news. A lot of times when people come in, they have no idea what they want. So it's up to you to be able to make recommendations. So I have a couple here of our absolute bestsellers, top renters, and I'm just going to tell you, just a tiny bit about these films. So you will know if someone comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for this type of film, then you know, okay, this is who I'm sending it to. The first one, Ghost. Patrick Swayze. I don't know. I always say Swayze. I don't know why. And Demi Moore. So, this is a love story. You would think it was a horror movie, right? No. This is a love story. Patrick Swayze plays a ghost who teams with Whoopi Goldberg, who is a psychic. And he was murdered. So, he's teaming up with the psychic to try to help them solve his murder. And during that time, he has this, romance with Demi Moore, and they call it like a supernatural thriller, but it is a chick flick, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's a really good movie, and I think it's very well known for the pottery scene and the Unchained melody, which is the song that they play at the time, and it's just a good film if you have somebody that's real interested in love stories with a little bit of spice, a love story for her or him, and a bit of a thriller for her or him. Usually two people buying something or renting something on date night have a little disagreements. That gives you both. Then, of course, we have our Star Wars movies. The original. Always would recommend the originals. Obviously, the first one of the film, because they always build on one another. So, like I said, I think The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones, was the best, but you gotta start with the first one because you'll just get lost and have no idea what you're doing. This is A New Hope. That is Luke Skywalker and his lightsaber is what they call that. That is Princess Leia. She gets abducted by the Sith Lord, Darth Vader, and Luke Skywalker finds her droids who come to give him a message. And it's about him and this old man named Ben Kenobi and trying to find the princess and finding a lot of really interesting people, friends. What's interesting is that Harrison Ford, who played Indiana Jones, also in this as Han Solo, and does a wonderful job. Now, who do you recommend that to? Yes, it's a sci-fi movie, but you don't have to be like a Star Trekkie, or you don't have to be someone who's super into sci-fi films to enjoy Star Wars. It has great stories that go along with it. The next one is The Empire Strikes Back. If you have someone that comes in, gets the first one, says, I love it, where do I go from here? Empire Strikes Back. And this one, you have the sort of introduction to Yoda, who is a small green creature who trains Luke in the ways of the Force, which is kind of the Jedi's superpower, if you will, something that they can use to their advantage. And we just have more of a continuation of the story, and that right there is Darth Vader, and they're up in their giant moon called the Death Star. And then the last one that you have is The Return of the King. The Return of the King, The Return of the Jedi. I'm getting into other movies now. The Return of the Jedi. This one starts off with Princess Leia being abducted by a large slug creature called Jabba, and is sort of the quintessential end of the trilogy, facing off against the Emperor and Lord Vader. So, like I said, yes, it's sci-fi. Yes, it's a little nerdy, but it also has great stories. It is kind of a love story as well. There's some love to it anyways, and I think just about anybody you could recommend it to, and I do. One of our best sellers for families, if someone comes in and says, I want something to remember my childhood, I want something for the kids or something like that, Charlotte's Web. This is a good film for the family. This all has to do with Charlotte, who is the spider, and I believe Wilbur, who is the pig on the farm, and it's very interesting. You also have Debbie Reynolds and Paul Lynde and Henry Gibson, and so you have some pretty big names in here as well. But it's a really good musical as well. And this was a book that I'm sure a lot of families probably have already read, and this is a wonderful adaptation. So if you have, what can I have my kids watch or something like that, Charlotte's Web. So this next one is a little bit edgier, but in the same vein, Harry Potter. So this Harry Potter, this is the very first one. I'm sure there's going to be many. This is the first one because there were 7 books adapted. This kid is a wizard. He didn't know he was a wizard because his parents were killed, and he grew up with Muggles, who are non-magical people. And on his 11th birthday, he gets basically abducted, for lack of a better word, and brought to Hogwarts to learn how to be a wizard. But Harry is special because he defeated the basically Hitler of the magical world, the guy who was trying to exterminate everybody and try to control the world. And he killed him as a baby through some sort of miraculous love spell that his mother gave him. So, really good film. The other ones I'm sure will be very good as well, but lots of wonderful actors and storytelling. Certainly individuals who like a little bit of Halloween, a little bit of supernatural, and also individuals who really like books to movies, and I think they did a pretty okay job with it, to be honest. Next, Grease. I think probably one of the best musicals of the 70s. You have John Travolta, and then you have Olivia Newton-John. And it's funny because these are like household names now, but this was their debuts. Olivia Newton-John, this is her debut as Sandy, and just a very good supporting cast as well. Individuals that met, fell in love, and then didn't realize that they're going to go to the same school. And then when they realize that, it's kind of a funny, comedic, but also a love story as well, which is some really good music. Definitely a classic. I would recommend this to just about anybody who likes musicals. It is a must-see. And then the last one that I have for you here of our top renters, top sellers, is Dances with Wolves. Dances with Wolves won 7 Academy Awards. This is Kevin Costner's, I think, probably shining moment, although he's had a lot. This is right after the Civil War. Lieutenant John Dunbar, who is Kevin Costner, goes out to the American frontier and is assigned to an abandoned fort. He runs into the Sioux Indian tribe, the same type of tribe that was the one who killed General Custer and his men. So he falls in love while he's there with the Native American woman. Actually, not a Native American woman, with a woman who's living with the Native Americans. And he learns the culture and basically becomes one of them. They allow him to become one of them, and kind of brings him back full circle, brings him back into harmony. Obviously did a lot of things in the Civil War that still haunt him, so with going back to those things, it makes him feel a little bit back to normal, the way happy, the way that he wants to be. So those are our best sellers. I got you started on intake. I got you started on how to put the films back in. I told you a little bit about the best sellers and renters a little bit. Now, I think maybe the best thing that I want for you to do is walk around the shop. Take heed of what is what, where is where. Our action section, our comedy section, our adult section, which is top shelf. Just maybe don't spend too much time with that. It is your first day after all. And then, I'm only kidding. And then that way, when someone comes in, asks for something, you can at least point them in the right direction. We do have a kiosk of shelves, which is right over there, if you look. And those are where our new releases are. So the majority of the time, when people come in, it's because they want to see something that they know just came to VHS. Makes it very easy for you to just point them over there, say that's our new releases, and there they are. Bathrooms are in the back, and so customers come in, need to use a bathroom, point them back there. Also for yourself as well, if you're going to be working the night shift and 8-hour shifts into the wee hours, you might need one. A lot of coffee. So why don't you take a stroll around? When you come back, maybe we can role play a little bit. I can be the customer. You can kind of point me in the right direction. And then I will show you how our system works. So when people come and check out, you can build them, put it in the system, and track them to make sure that they know what day it's due. We have 3-day rentals and 7-day rentals. The 3 days, if they keep it longer, it turns into 7. If it turns after 7, and they keep it longer than that, we bill them every day until we bill them for the entirety of the film. Or it really comes out to be a little bit more than that, but we'll get into that. Why don't you take a look around? Come on back. Absolutely, you're very welcome. It's great to have you on board. I'll see you soon.